Was Wizards right all along? Is Standard actually flourishing? Let's play some $50 mono green Stompy and try to find out. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic. And this week, we're heading to our Tarkir Dragonstorm Standard format to prove that Standard is actually really, truly, indeed flourishing with some mono green Stompy. So this deck, the most exciting part, only $48 to put together, so super duper cheap, but I actually think it might finally be time for mono green to shine again in Standard. Green has been like the worst color in Standard for 2 years now or something, but I think maybe thanks to some new cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm and some shifts in the meta where there's less bounce and there's less sunfalls right now, it might be time for mono green and its massive bodies to actually compete in the format. So let's talk about our mono green deck, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, see the deck in action. So our deck, as a mono green deck, is all about one thing, which is playing the biggest creatures possible as quickly as possible. And this is a strategy that has not been good in Standard for a few different reasons. The big reasons are, one, there were a lot of control decks playing Sunfall. Thankfully, thanks to Corey Steelcutter decks, way less Sunfall decks now. Everyone's playing like Temporary Lockdown, and honestly, we don't really care about Temporary Lockdown that much. So that shift is big for us. We've also seen the self-bounce decks become less popular, and one thing decks that play a big creature each turn really don't like is an opponent that can play a momentum breaker every single turn. That's kind of a nightmare for us. So those decks not being as popular is huge. The other shift is, rather than playing against Mice as the best aggro deck, now Corey Steelcutter is the best aggro deck. And even though the play pattern in those decks is kind of similar, where you're trying to like cast a bunch of spells and kill you super quickly, the big difference is Mice have double strike for Manifold Mouse, which allowed them to, even if we played a Angorasaur Rex, our biggest creature, a 5 mana 8/8, where they could double strike up a mouse, use a Monstrous Rage, and just still attack through it. Corey Steelcutter decks don't have double strike, so now we can actually block them with our big creature. Sure, they can still use Monstrous Rage and Prowess to maybe trade off, but blocking is at least a little bit back on the table. So anyway, that's the theory of the deck. As far as the deck itself, here are our creatures. So we have Llanowar Elves to ramp us into our big things. Keen-Eyed Curator, basically a tech card where it's really good against graveyard decks, so if we run into Oculus decks and Omniscience combo decks, Keen-Eyed Curator gives us main deck graveyard 8. Flourishing Bloomkin, the card that proves that Standard might actually be flourishing, is actually one of the best cards in the deck. A 2 mana 0/0, but it gets +1/+1 for each forest. We control every land in our deck as a forest, so this is often like a 2 mana 4/4, 2 mana 5/5. Scrap Shooter, 3 mana 4/4 that we can gift a card to blow up an artifact or enchantment, so this is a way we can deal with a Corey Steelcutter and Holy Annex or whatever. Pulukronos Reborn, just really big, can flip into a lifelinker. Surrak gives us a little bit of haste, and then Angorasaur Rex, our biggest creature, 5 mana 8/8 trample, really far above the curve, but we can also cycle it for 3 mana to put 2 counters on something and give that thing indestructible until end of turn. So a way we can protect our creatures, do some shenanigans during combat. So the idea of the deck is basically play these cards, smash face with them, hope for the best. We also have a lot of card draw in the deck, and one of the things I love about this mono green deck is we can actually keep up with the mid-range decks and the control decks because of Outcaster Trailblazer, because of Garruk's Uprising. These draw cards whenever our creature power 4 or greater enters under our control, and we have a lot of creatures with power 4 or greater. Yes, Keen-Eyed Curator, Llanowar Elves don't count, but the rest of our deck, all creatures power 4 or greater. So if we can stick a couple of these, every big creature we're casting, we're drawing a couple cards, just an endless source of card advantage. Plus, Garruk's Uprising gives everything trample, which is really nice with all of our big creatures against opponents with little creatures. And then Herd Heirloom, this is our big new addition from Tarkir Dragonstorm, and this card is absolutely bonkers. It is so good in this deck. So not only does it ramp us into our bigger things, most importantly, we can tap it to give something trample, as long as it has power 4 greater, which again is most of our deck. So we can give that thing trample, and if it deals combat damage, we get to draw a card. So what this does in practice is we can go to combat and swing with a bunch of like big Bloomkins and Surraks and so forth, wait and see how our opponent blocks, and then give something trample to force through a ton of damage and win the game even through our opponent's blockers. We also have Hard-Hitting Questions. This is our removal spell, the green swords to plowshares, I would say. but it's a pretty reasonable fight spell. It is sorcery speed, but since we have so many big creatures, we usually have something that can take down whatever our opponent plays. Mana base is clean and simple as possible, 23 forests. In the sideboard, Heritage Reclamation to deal with artifacts and enchantments. Paw Patch Formation does a little bit of everything, gets flyers, enchantments, can make a food token if we need some life. Hunter's Talent, another fight spell, Scavenging Ooze for more graveyard hate, Obstinate Baloth if we run into the Hopeless Nightmare decks. And that is mono green on a $50 budget in Standard. And that's our deck for today. So let's jump into some games and see. Is the meta finally in a spot where big green creatures can actually compete in Standard? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. Budget Magic time. We are bringing back mono green in Standard. I think it might finally be time for green to make a comeback, thanks to some new Tarkir Dragonstorm stuff and some shifts in the meta. And this hand looks pretty good. Llanowar, a bunch of big green creatures. So here's my theory on this. Green was really bad for two reasons. One is there were so many Wrath decks in the past, so many Sunfall decks. Those were like some of the most played decks in the meta. Those decks have kind of fallen off. You see a lot more temporary lockdown decks now than like Sunfall decks. So that's one. Number two is mice aren't as prevalent anymore. And mice were really good against mono green because even with the biggest blockers, they could still just get through you with Monstrous Rage. However, Quarry Steelcutter deck's not as good at that. Our opponent's going to torch the tower, take down our elf. So I think in theory, the meta might be right. Plus, we get Herd Heirloom now, which I think is a huge deal to the deck. But anyway, let's see. Let's see if we can make mono green work on a budget. Bone it. Land. And Voice of Victory. All right, well, we will just plot a Trailblazer. Set up for next turn. So there's kind of a theme of creatures with power 4 or greater in the deck. That's kind of our sub-theme. Bone it. Monastery Swiftspear. And gonna take a big beating. Bona gets in, mobilizes, hits us down to 16, sure. And a Stadium Headliner. Well, we're gonna have to get down some bodies to do some blocking. Let's Outcast our Trailblazer, make a mana. It would be nice if we could draw into one more thing. Well, let's just play the Sirach. I don't think... Ugh, another land. Okay, well, let's haste up the Trailblazer. I think we actually get in with the Trailblazer. Because we don't want our opponent to kill the Trailblazer. If they're going to kill something, we'd rather them kill the Sirach. We want the card draw because our hand is very forest heavy at the moment. So they can attack and then sack the Stadium Headliner to kill the Sirach. It does take their entire turn, which is good. And that means we untap with the Trailblazer and we get to play the Flourishing Boomkin and maybe draw into something else. What do we got? All right, Stadium Headliner. Gonna take down old Sirach. And we drop to 11. Well, all right. Let's see what we can do. Ooh, the biggest of our green creatures. Well, let's play the Bloomkin. Draw Llanowar. Well, in that case, I think we just pass with the mana up. We can leave up the Rex, which we can cycle for 3 mana to protect something. I feel like if we can get rid of the Voice of Victory, then we've pretty much stabilized and we should win eventually. Opponent getting in. Well... I am a little worried about Frontline Rush, but block. Actually, we should probably do that the other way. Let's block here. So this way, if they have a spell, we don't lose both creatures, potentially. I mean, we're not going to lose both anyway because of the Rex, but this puts our opponent in the hardest position, I think, as far as casting like a pump spell. Because if they trigger Prowess on Swiftspear, it still doesn't kill the Boomkin, but it would kill the Outcaster Trailblazer if we did it the other way. Frontline Rush would be annoying, but it still puts them in a tough scene. All right, Pony has Frontline Rush. Thankfully, it does not give Trample. Well, let's cycle Angorasaur Rex. Ooh, all right. Hard-hitting question's kind of nice here. So our opponent for now keeps the Voice of Victory, but I imagine... Ooh, another Bloomkin, too. All right, yeah. Let's play a 2-mana 5/5, draw a card, and play a land, and play a blue Kratos, and draw a card, and opponent... scoops it up, and that went about how we imagined. Like, our opponent was doing their aggro stuff. We just played big green creatures, and our opponent really couldn't keep up. They even had, like, a pretty fast start, although they did stop hitting lands, which maybe that was the problem. I don't know if we really change a ton here. Maybe just bring in a couple more fight spells. We're going to be on the draw. And this hand looks good. Ramp into big things and a fight spell, or a bite spell. I also like that we get to play a ton of Graveyard Hate. I feel like we should have game against Omniscience and stuff, just because we get to play, like, all the Keen-Eyed Curators, we get a bunch of Scavenging Oozes. Well, get down the Llanowar. Opponent. Wow, gonna get losted, okay. I mean, I'm kind of fine with them spending a real removal spell on an elf, because that means our big stuff, hopefully gonna stick. Well, let's get down the Raccoon, Keen-Eyed Curator. We got our Herd Heirloom, too. This might be, Screaming Nemesis. Well, we're not really a life gain deck. I think we just kill the Nemesis. Our opponent can hit us, shut down the life gain. But we weren't really planning on... I mean, I guess we do a Polukranos in hand, but we weren't really planning on trying to gain life out of this anyway. Opponent's only got 2 cards in hand. Do we just Polukranos? Yeah. Now it's a little awkward if they have another Screaming Nemesis, but that is the downside. If we have to block a Screaming Nemesis, our stuff's so big, it deals a lot of damage. All right, Tursa, Light Shatter, sure. That's fine. As far as hasty 3-drops go, we'd much rather deal with a Tursa. There's our Rex. Let's see if we can hit a land here, I think. Please, Magic Gods, correct the map. All right, there's a forest. That's good. I mean, we could, like, Herd Heirloom into Elf. It probably makes the most sense just to run out a Scrap Shooter. We also have the Fight spell, but I don't even know if we need... We're at 14. Neither of their cards are that threatening. Let's just pass. Let's just pass. Leave up the cycling of Rex if there's shenanigans. Voice of Victory. Plus, cycling lets us get another shot at hitting land for next turn, which would be good. We don't mind hitting our land drops. Can't really attack, right? I don't think. Yeah, opponent passing. Well, we hit our land, which is nice. Yeah, I think we... They didn't do anything last turn. I don't think they have removal. Let's get down the Heirloom. Bite the Voice of Victory, which is kind of a scary card. It can deal a lot of damage. And then we'll just play a Scrap Shooter. I feel like Scrap Shooter is a pretty good card. I feel like there's a lot of good green cards that no one plays. But like Scrap Shooter, 3-mana 4/4 that can also theoretically blow up an artifact or enchantment, like a Corey Steelcutter perhaps. It seems like it should be good. Why does no one play green cards? There's so many good green cards that no one plays. Wow, opponent cannot beat the biggins. Scoops him up with the GG and, well, mono green. Off to a good start. Let's keep doing that. It has been many years, it feels like, since mono green was actually good. Well, let's see how good Garruk's Uprising is. This deck can draw a ton of cards. It can draw a ton of cards. We have a lot of card draws, so we can fight through the control matchups, hopefully. That's kind of our hope. We have enough card draw to stick with control, maybe. And then we just have big bodies, which we're trusting will save us against aggro. Found it. Hedge Maze. And does a little milling. Rockcursed Rakshasha. Well, we'll get down our elf, Pestered. Keen-Eyed Curator is nice. We can snag that Rakshasha. Well, there goes our Garruk's Uprising, I presume. Maybe they take the hard-hitting questions. Opponent Sultai? Interesting. I really would like to see Sultai be good in Standard. I want to see more of the wedge decks. I want more wedges. Yeah, let's just play the Curator. And I think we just snipe this Rakshasha. We don't really want our opponent decaying our stuff. What do you got, Sultai? And Awaken. I love Awaken the Undead. I swear this card's going to be good someday. We played it recently, and it was so good for us. Maybe it's just a little slow for the current meta, but I feel like there's going to be a time when this is a very good Standard card. Probably in some sort of graveyardy deck, but still. So opponent gets to blow something up, I imagine. It's Keen-Eyed Curator. Also, this might mean our opponent's a graveyard deck. I guess Sultai plus Awaken the Undead deck definitely makes you think, might be doing graveyardy things. Are they thinking about killing the elf? Yeah, okay. Kills the Keen-Eyed Curator, that makes sense. Opponent passes, well, maybe when Polukranos rotates. Get down Polukranos. Opponent. Mills. Wow, Madrotha. Okay. I can respect the spice. Opponent's got a brew going on, and I like it. Brood spin, all right, gonna do a little surveilling. I mean, of course I'd rather win, but if we lose to Sultai Madrotha in Standard, I will accept that. I will accept that as a cool loss. Ooh, all right, that's good. Get down Garruk's Uprising. See if we can do a little card drawing. I'll play the land, and let's ask a hard-hitting question to this spider. And smack ya. Down to 14. I mean, we are kind of the aggro. We really need... Ooh. They can get back to Madroltha if they want to. I guess they can get back Sheoldred or Oculus. We really could use another Keen-Eyed Curator. If we can draw a Keen-Eyed Curator and just nuke this graveyard, that would make things way easier. Wait, no. So you're saying all 5 cards in your, or 4 cards in your hand are better than Oh. Yeah, Zombify on Madroltha. Oh, all right. Go to combat attack. Unfortunately, we got... Oh my god, we got away with one there. Whew. Whew. Oh, you can only flip it as a sorcery. Okay. Good to know. I don't think our opponent realized that either because they didn't block. That was actually just a chump attack. Well, they got the Awakened Undead. We're going to have a hard time getting a 6-power creature, I think, to kill this Madroltha. And this Madroltha is going to beat us. Kind of a sick value loop. I don't know how realistic it is to get Madroltha into play all the time and keep it there, but Madroltha with Awakened Undead. So now we can scrap shoot the Awakened Undead, but what does that even really do for us? Because they can just recast it with Madroltha and blow up the scrap shooter. Oh, there's a Keen-Eyed Curator. Ah, but it's too late, too slow. I mean, we can snipe a couple of things. Get rid of, like, the Sheoldred and the Oculus. We are still at 18, and our opponent's at 10. Like, maybe we can just build a big enough board to go around this Madroltha. Let's snipe the Oculus. Like, next turn, they block here. We actually have 10. Well, they're going to play other stuff. Bitter Triumph, taking down the Keen-Eyed Curator. Well, let's... Fangkeeper's Familiar is also good, but I think Sheoldred is even worse for us. Let's get Sheoldred, because they can't Madroltha instant speed, right? So it's not like they can just always cast the Fangkeeper Familiar thanks to Madroltha. Now pass the turn. I mean, the real problem is just this loop is never ending, because we can't kill the Madroltha. If we kill the Madroltha, then Awakened Undead gets back to Madroltha. If we don't kill the Madroltha, they just have this endless loop of graveyard value that we're not going to stop. We're actually kind of, oh god. Badlands Revival gets back a Fangkeeper's Familiar. Yeah, I think our opponent actually just blows up our card draw. Haywire Might. Yeah, I think our opponent might actually just have this unlock. Like, Flourishing Bloomkin, nice, but without the card draw, not doing a ton here. Well, I mean, pass the turn. We could hard-hitting Questions to kill the Madroltha, but then they just get it back anyway. Now it goes to the graveyard. They can yeah, we can't stop this value. Too much value. Well, we just got Madroltha in Standard. Was not expecting that today. Was not expecting that, but sweet deck opponent. Actually, I'm not even being sarcastic. I kind of want to build our opponent's deck now. Awaken the Undead Madroltha seems kind of sweet. Well, let's bring in some ways to interact with the graveyard. A little bit of enchantment removal. I guess we got to cut some Erd Heirlooms. Maybe the Sirach, run it like that. All right, on to game number 2. We're going to be on the play up against Sultai Madroltha. And, I mean, this is a reasonable hand. Heritage Reclamation can snipe a card from the graveyard. So there might be a world where we can get a Madroltha or something as our opponent's trying to get it back. Well, let's get down the Llanowar. Pass turn. Hopefully it lives so we can... All right, it's going to live. Ooh, double Outcaster Trailblazer is nice. Those are some of the sweetest draws. Forest and passing. Well, there's a Pulchrinos, but I think we just play an Outcaster Trailblazer. We're just going to try to set up for a big refiller hand turn at some point. Bitter Triumph. All right, that's fine. We'd rather have them Bitter Triumph and Elf than pretty much anything else at this point. I think we should have enough mana, right? With 2 Outcaster Trailblazers and a Pulchrinos to draw off of. We should find lands. Yeah, I wonder if a Sultai deck like this could actually work. So it is susceptible to Graveyard Hate. And it does just look slow against aggro, but it looked really impressive in game 1. Like, it got us good. It just essentially locked us out of the game, which, you know me, nothing I like more than... I mean, I would prefer to be doing the locking, actually, but nothing I like more than Prison-y Magic decks. All right, Creature Land. Well, all right, let's do some things. Outcaster Trailblazer. Please don't kill it. We just want to draw some cards. The fact that they use their Bitter Triumph so aggressively on an elf makes me think maybe they have a second one, or a second removal spell of some kind. Make it green mana. And then Outcaster Trailblazer Part 2. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, they do have a second Bitter Triumph. Well, that is going to minimize the number of cards we can draw, unfortunately. Outcaster number 2, and then Polukranos. Okay, we hit a land. So now we play Garruk's Uprising. Draw a big creature, please. Even more lands. All right. Well, now we just want creatures power 4 greater to trigger our stuff, and we can draw a lot of cards. Pass. Ugh, not the best time for a land. Like, we can kill them in 2 turns if they don't have anything. They could be playing Wraths. It is possible. I feel like a graveyard deck like this, I could see Deadly Cover-Up being somewhere in the 75. Get in there. Hit ya. I mean, opponent better have something, because we are kind of presenting lethal. Opponent's going to Fangkeeper Familiar. All right. So maybe not exactly presenting lethal now. Ooh, just going to blow up the Uprising. Okay. Uprising's actually kind of sneaky good because it also gives Trample, which the card draw is the reason we're playing it. We wouldn't play it if it didn't have card draw on it. But the upside of also giving our stuff Trample is kind of relevant when we have all these big creatures going up against Kori Steelcutters and aggro decks. Like, we can just swing in and get in damage even through the blocks. Getting in with the Fangkeeper. Oh, no. They must have a Wrath then. Oh, that's bad news. Hey, if we gotta lose, I'm fine with losing to a Spicy Sultai deck. I don't want to lose to Kori Steelcutter or whatever, but if we lose... Oh my god, that's even more lands. And also a Llanowar Elves. Well, alright. So opponent's kind of like Sultai Madrotha control. Well, there's a Garruk's Uprising. Doesn't do much without having some bigger creatures, though. It does trample up our Llanowar, just in case our opponent was thinking about blocking. Oh god. Sheoldred. Well, let's play Polukranos. Draw a card. Whew, it's a land. Well, play the land in. I guess we just flip Polukranos. Turn it into kind of a Wormcoil engine, essentially. It does have lifelink, which is nice. Opponent. Maelstrom Pulse the Polukranos. We really needed to live. Oh, boy. We needed to live because we need something big enough to fight down this Sheoldred, but no such luck. All right, about it. Sheoldred. We needed... Oh, okay. Scavenging Ooze is something. That can gain us some life at least. And theoretically... Oh, if they have another Fangkeeper, then I guess they probably got us. Oh, well... Sultai's time to shine. Good game, but opponent's deck looks sweet. Opponent's deck looks sweet. I'm not even upset about losing that one. I will take the loss to the Spicy Sultai deck. Trying to play some mono green. Is mono green back? Can we bring it back in standard? This hand, no Llanowar or anything, but it's fine. We got big things. That's kind of the whole point. See what our opponent's up to. Llanowar Elves? Hang on a minute. That's our gimmick, opponent. Get out of here with your elves. What is our opponent? Like a cage deck, maybe? Selesnya Cage. Opponent, land, and... Oh, some sort of poison deck. Annex Sentry. Or I guess Toxic, rather. Well, let's play another Bloomkin. And, you know what? I think we just fight down the elf. We could wait and try to kill the Annex Sentry. But I don't know if it's that important. I feel like that'll eventually... just happen naturally. Are they playing Gearhulk? I feel like Gearhulk's one of the reasons to play Selesnya. I don't know how it... Well, I guess... What does they do in Infect, though? Maybe this Nature's Rhythm. Huh? Oh. So they're just like... They gotta be getting Rot Priest, right? So they're just like a Rot Priest deck. I mean, I guess Nature's Rhythm... Oh, okay, it's a Skrelv. Huh. I don't know what our opponent's doing. I think we get in. See if our opponent blocks. If they do, we can cycle the Rex. All right. No such luck. I'd really love to wait until we draw another land and then we trigger the Garruk's Uprising, but I guess we just got to get it down because we got nothing else going on. I was definitely expecting our opponent to get a Venerated Rot Priest. Are they just randomly playing Annex Sentry? That doesn't make sense either. Down to 18. More importantly, up to 2. All right, there's a Gearhulk. Which are, all right, there's the Rot Priest, double Rot Priest. I guess we do some scrap shooting. Scrap shoot, and then I guess we just have to blow up the Annex Sentry, get back another Bloomkin, and we get to draw. It would have been sweet if we had the land first, because then we could draw off the Bloomkin too, but all right, get some bodies down. Can't get through the Gearhulk yet, but we got a bunch of 4/4s. Green, very good at making 4/4s. We have 4/4 Tron assembled. Opponent, Venerator Rot Priest. And more Venerator Rot Priests. Now our opponent targeting their stuff with spells becomes very frightening. That becomes a little bit scary. Opponent, Haywire Might, can blow up our Garruk's Uprising if they want to. I mean, we could just play the biggest dino. Get down our 5-mana 8/8 Trampler. We could also, like, Herd Heirloom. We can't really attack this turn. Well, I guess we can attack. We can attack and use Rex to get through. That might be the plan. Let's go to combat. I think we have to kill our opponent because I'm afraid we're going to get Rot Priest comboed if we don't. Get in there. So we have to like focus on getting in damage because if we just sit back and play defense, eventually they're going to target their stuff and just Rot Priest burn us out of the game. Opponent going to block the Scrap Shooter. This actually works out pretty well. So we can Herd Heirloom, Bloomkin to get through some damage and draw a card. Herd Heirloom, I think, is actually really good. The Trample is also huge. Like, it just does so much. And now we cycle Angorosaur Rex, put the counters on the Scrap Shooter. I mean, next turn we might just die, but that was a pretty good turn. That was a pretty good turn. So opponent's going to take 8. We get rid of the Bright Glass Gearhulk. Actually, even more. Opponent's going to take 10. I feel like we likely win next turn. Especially with this Surrak in hand. The question is, do we live till next turn? That is the real question. So we're at 2. They can attack us up to 5. They have 2 Rot Priests. I mean, I guess they need to be able to target something 3 Rot Priests. So we go up to 5. They need 2 spells that can target their creatures, and they win. They only have 3 cards, though. Maybe we're okay. Helping Hands gets back an Annex entry. Ooh, does that keep us from winning? Crawling Chorus. Well, I don't think we die. Well, let's play Surrak. So opponent has 2 blockers. I mean, this is the power of Herd Heirloom, right? We go to combat, we attack, haste up the Surrak. I mean, this is literally Herd Heirloom winning us this game. One of them's going to go unblocked. Whichever big thing they block, we just trample up, and that should do it, right? So they're taking 5 from Surrak. And then we just Herd Heirloom on the, I guess the one with the smallest blocker. Trample up the Bloomkin. Rot Priest is a scary card. My goodness. Remember when it first came out and it was, for like a week, it was all the hype? Wow, that combo. Well, opponent, Shard Mage's Rescue. Man, they were 1 spell short. Up to 8 poison. Oh, that was actually very close. Opponent's deck's kind of interesting. It almost feels like a combo deck in a weird way. They just have so many ways of finding Venerated Rot Priest now. With Nature's Rhythm, with the Bright Glass Gearhulk. What do we want to change? I guess we can bring in a couple more fight spells in the Hunter's Talents, but I guess actually Heritage Reclamation might not be bad. They have a lot of artifacts. And we do kind of want to be able to kill the Gearhulk, just because 4/4 First Strike is kind of an annoyingly good blocker against. We have a lot of like 4/4s in our deck, but the First Strike just locks us down. We can go down some Keen-Eyed Curators, I think. Our opponent, we did see a Helping Hands, but they don't seem like a very graveyard heavy deck. What else can we cut? We got to be careful, like, not to cut too many creatures, or else all of our card draw stuff doesn't trigger. Yeah, it might just be another Curator. Run it like that. All right, on to game number 2. Mono green on a budget versus Toxic Combo. A little slow. All 3 drops. I think we just mulligan. This one, I guess it's arguably better. I like that we have the Herd Heirloom. That's big. Bound it. The Natural Rot Priest. Well, that's kind of scary. After we saw how many pieces our opponent had to tutor up Rot Priest in game 1, them just having one naturally to start with probably means we're going to be facing down a lot of Rot Priests. Well, let's get down to Heirloom. If our opponent wants to snipe it with their Haywire Might, they are welcome to. Yeah, all right. Heirloom down, sure. I mean, we got another one anyway. Getting in, hits us. Up to 2. I can't imagine actual damage matters in this matchup, but we'll see. Ugh. To get another Rot Priest. Well, play the land and get down to Bluegranos. At least Bluegranos is a good blocker. Hopefully this shuts down the attacks at least. It's just kind of awkward though, because like if we attack, we just take so much on the backswing. Well, we're gonna run out this Scrap Shooter. Can we afford to attack? we gotta pressure, because the same thing as game one. Like, if we just sit back, they're gonna eventually find their Shard Mages, Rescues, or whatever to target the Rot Priest. So I think we have to get in there, although, I mean, maybe they seem to value Rot Priest a ton, so maybe they won't attack just because they don't want to lose a Rot Priest. The opponent passes. Okay, that's good. I'll play the land. Let's play the Heirloom. Get in with the Scrap. I don't think we can attack with both. That's a little too much. Get in with the Scrap Shooter. Might as well draw a card with the Heirloom. Trample up the Scrap Shooter. Little raccoon action. Draw a Forest. Yeah, let's just Outcaster Trailblazer. I think we actually just run it out. Like, a huge percentage of the time I like to plot it, but I think in this case, just having a body on the battlefield is a blocker. A blocking body battlefield blocker. Block battlefield. You know what I'm trying to say. We need it to stop our opponent from poisoning us. Our opponent's too toxic for us to plot it. That's what I meant. Opponent, break Glass Geralt. Just all the Rot Priests. I mean, our opponent could have all right, they're going for all 4 Rot Priests. That is very frightening, especially since we can't attack this turn unless we draw something. I mean, I guess we could flip the Pelucranos and attack. That actually might be our best bet. The other option is Bloomkin draw, see if we can hit like a fight spell. About it. Are we gonna do some blocking? No. Well, trample up the Pelucranos, gain some life, which isn't super relevant here. Keen-Eyed Curator. Opponent, Venerated Rot Priest. Venerated Rot Priest. We will block the Rot Priest. I imagine if our opponent's doing this, we're dead. With 4 Rot Priests, they can direct damage kill us. Well, there's 1 shard. They need 2 spells at target. There's a Shards Made Rescue. 1 mana, 4 poison counters. Pretty good. Although they did have to do a lot of work to get all the Rot Priests on the battlefield. They did have to spend some time tutoring it up. And, all right, combo kill. Shard Made Rescue number 2. That was kind of brutal. Let's see if we can just get a nice smashy start. Yeah, this is fine. Green actually has a lot of really good cards. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention earlier when I was talking about reasons that I think green has a shot is also the bounce stacks are kind of trending down right now. And the bounce stacks, just like picking up momentum break again and again and again, really brutal. All of those factors, like mice shifting towards Corey Steelcutter, bounce decks being less prevalent, Sunfall decks being replaced by temporary lockdown decks, add all those things together, it might be green's time to shine. Well, getting to hit you with a raccoon. And I don't think I've ever disguised a Flourishing Bloomkin. Maybe I should consider disguising it someday just to see what it's like. It just seems like so much for a Cultivate. It's like 5 mana to flip and you get a Cultivate, although I guess you get a potential blowout. Opponent. Yeah, Rot Priest number 1 of game 3. Heritage Reclamation will be good eventually. Let's Hunter's Talent. Get rid of the Skrelv. This also is not a spell, so it doesn't trigger the Rot Priest, which is nice. Do we level up for... they're not going to block anyway. We could level up for Trample, but I think instead, we'll just get it and hit you for 7 down to 10. Play Keen-Eyed Curator. So now, I mean, we got lethal on board. Our opponent does have a blocker, so, all right, there's a Bright Glass. Although, this actually works out great. So we just kill the Bright Glass with the Scrap Shooter, attack. Our opponent, we don't win, but our opponent has to chump with the Rot Priest. And I feel like if our opponent has to chump with the Rot Priest, the way their deck is built, that is almost like us winning. Like, they really need the Rot Priest sitting out there. Opponent, Shard Mages Rescue. That is kind of cute that you can get the Shard Mages Rescues and the Rot Priest. Well, Scrap Shooter, I have a gift for you, opponent. We will gift you a card and blow up this Bright Glass Geralt. And now we'll level up for some Trample. And go attacking. Wait, actually, do we have lethal? So if our opponent blocks here, 6. Wow. Opponent scoops. I think they could have stayed at 1. But like I said, once I got to throw away their Rot Priest, I imagine they just are not going to be able to win, especially with us at 0 poison. Whew. Hand looks pretty solid. Got some card draw, got a little removal. It's basically all you want. I think it's not 100% necessary, but really an ideal hand. Ooh, all right, mice. Looks like mice. Well, let's see if we can stand up to mice. I feel like mice can be a hard matchup, even with our big creatures, because double strike plus monstrous rage. Gets through even the biggest of us, opponent. Gonna take down the elf. Get in with the Hired Claw. Hit us. Down to 18. Well, how about some Keen-Eyed Curation? I think that's, yeah, it's got to be better than the Heirloom, right? We just need a body on the battlefield. A blocking body. Yeah, let's just play the Curator. Our stuff is just, should be bigger at like every point on the curve, although opponent attacks. All right, so if they have Monstrous Rage, if we block Challenger, we get blown out. Let's block Hired Claw. If they have Monstrous Rage, they can play it on the Hired Claw. They get in some damage, but at least we still kill it. If we block the other way, then we just get fully blown out. All right, maybe we just, oh, actually, Keen-Eyed Curator is kind of a perfect draw here. Now we can curate. Hard-hitting questions. Take down the Challenger. And, I mean, now our opponent's got, well, 3 cards now in hand, and we're still at 13. Opponent, Emberheart Challenger. No, ooh, there's the Rex. Yeah, let's plot the Outcaster Trailblazer. We're just gonna hope we survive this turn. And then next turn we can Trailblazer into Rex. And if our opponent, oh, there's the Manifold Mouse. That is unfortunate. All right, Manifold Mouse. Emberheart Challenger triggers, draws, Burst Lightning. Well, that is also unfortunate. Burst Lightning our face, triggers Prowess. I mean, we have to, right? If we don't, we take infinite damage. All right, well, let's see if a dinosaur can beat a mouse. I'm not super confident, but we're about to find out. So, Outcaster Trailblazer, Angorasaur Rex, draw a card. It's a scrap shooter, which is fine. All right, if an 8/8 is not big enough to stop a friggin' 2-drop mouse, what are we even doing with our lives? Opponent, Manifold Mouse. Triggers. Please don't hit a Monstrous Rage. All right, Hired Claw, that's fine. I don't really care about that. No attacks, please. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Opponent apparently does not have the Monstrous Rage because we're still alive. Plays a land. Plays a Heartfire Hero. The scary part is we do kind of need to attack. So let's play the Heirloom. And yeah, I mean, we got to deal damage. Get in with the Angorasaur Rex. Trample it up to draw a card. Hit you to 12. Oh, that is the best draw. Okay, hard-hitting questions is literally the best thing we could have drawn there. Play the Scrap Shooter. Draw a card. Hard-hitting questions. I have a question for you, Manifold Mouse. How would you like to die? All right, Manifold Mouse down. Now I'm feeling kind of okay about where we're at. Opponent, Tersa Light Shatter. What is their last card? It's got to be Monstrous Rage, right? What other card would you not discard here? So we're going to block Tersa. I think this is fine. Even if they have the Monstrous Rage, I don't think we die. And then in theory, we have 12 on the backswing to just win the game. Do we actually? Oh, it is a This wasn't even like Mice had a bad draw. This wasn't even like Mice had a bad draw. Opponent hits us to 4, but that's not dead. And we have 12 power of dinosaurs and raccoons, and our opponent had double Monstrous Rage too. Double Monstrous Rage, Manifold Mouse, and we still beat him with mono green. Wow, okay. If we can actually beat Mice, not that Mice is a big matchup anymore, but I feel like Mice it should be a tough matchup just because of the Monstrous Rage double strike thing, the invalidation of blocking, but I guess we can go down some of the card draw that's a little slow. Scavenging is not insane, but it's an early game body, and it can gain some life. The Graveyard Hate, not really especially relevant, but this hand seems fine. Not bad. Well, land, go. I really like Flourishing Bloomkid. That card's pretty good. Found it. Emberheart Challenger. I'm gonna get it and hit us. It's nice that it's in the late game, it's a 4-power creature, so it triggers our stuff. That's only 2 mana. It's I believe the only card in Standard that does that. Like, maybe there's like a janky one that I'm not thinking. It's the only card in our deck, at least, that's 2 mana and triggers like Outcaster Trailblazer. Well, Bonnet has a combo. That's a Manifold Mouse. Getting in there. This one, I think, we gotta take the 4 here and hope for the best. Bonnet hits us to 14. Now, play the land, because we do have the hard-hitting questions, so we can ask that mouse another question, get it out of here, and, yeah, play another Bloomkid. And yeah, we're gonna start attacking. It's weird as it is, I feel like we're like kind of the aggro in this matchup. Or like, we're not the aggro, but we have to stay aggro. Because we can't just play defensive, because Monstrous Rage will beat us if we just try to go all defense. Alright, Witchstalker's Frenzy. That's kind of fine. We drop to 11. We draw land, which is nice. I really want to plot an Outcaster Trailblazer, but I feel like we just don't have the time this matchup. Or this game, at least. So maybe we just play the Scrap Shooter. I guess this is the best we can do. We play the Scrap Shooter, we play the Llanowar. We get in for 4. Hit you to 13. Next turn, if we draw... Well, next turn, we just Trailblazer into Scrap Shooter. With the mana from... Ooh, Screaming Nemesis, okay. Oh, no. Second Witchstalker's Frenzy. Yeah, let's block. Drop to 7. Hard Hitting Questions is good, although it is also awkward against Screaming Nemesis. Thankfully, we're at 7, though. So that means technically we can take 2 hits, sort of. Yeah, let's play the Outcaster Trailblazer. Make a mana. Might as well fight down the Emberheart Challenger, since we're definitely not fighting the Nemesis. And yeah, hit you to 9. If we draw land, we kind of have lethal potentially on the backswing if there's not a blocker. We could die right now if our opponent's got... All right, no Monstrous Rage. I guess... All right, Burst Lightning. Yeah. I mean, that was actually kind of close, though. That was still kind of close. That was mono red on the play, and we didn't just get blown out. So I kind of feel good about that in a weird way. We'll play first hand. Hand looks pretty good. It's still wild that Angorasaur Rex is not a good enough card. It's just so big. It even has Trample. And it cycles for upside. Well, land, go. It's been pretty good in our deck. Opponent, land, and, well, there's the Heartfire Hero. Which 2-drop shall we play? Let's just play the Curator. It's possible we could disguise the Flourishing Bloomkin. If we do good with this deck, I guess it technically means that Standard is flourishing. We might accidentally be proving Wizards right. I hate to say that, but we have Standard might literally be flourishing. Flourishing in the Bloomkin style. We're not going to disguise it. It's too much mana to flip. But we will play it, and we will hard-hitting question the Manifold Mouse. Thankfully, every single game our opponents had Manifold Mouse, and every single game we've had hard-hitting question to take care of it. I think that's part of the reason that we've been close. Like, if our opponent just sticks the Manifold Mouse forever, we're going to die. Like, that's kind of what it does. But if you can take care of it within the first turn, or, well, really the first turn, it's not too bad. Well, Standard's flourishing. Emberheart Challenger. Oh, and the Bloomkin. See, flourishing, they can't even attack into it. That's how flourishing. Let's play the ooze. Let's actually eat the Manifold Mouse to get out of Burst Lightning range. Would you like to block, opponent? I feel like we're kind of winning the race against mice at the moment. Llanowar Elves. We might just be faster than mice. We're definitely bigger than mice, and we're definitely flourishing more than mice. They only have 2 mana. Even if they have double Monstrous Rage, we don't die. Oh, they have Witchstalker's Frenzy. Wait, do we still win? 3, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we get to win because of Angorasaur Rex. No one expects the 2+1/+1 counters. Okay, we can eat a creature to ooze. So ooze eat a creature to get up to 4 power. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then cycle the dinosaur for 2+1/+1 counters. We just don't want them to tap the elf accidentally. Cycle it for 2 counters, put it on whatever, draw another dinosaur, go to combat, and that looks like Xaxes. And not only did we beat Mono Red, not only did we beat them, we absolutely just crushed mice with Mono Green. Okay, I think nature might be healing. Standard, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it might actually be flourishing. It's been a long time since you could just play big green creatures and smash people with them, but thanks to Herd Heirloom and, of course, Flourishing Bloomkin, it might be time for Mono Red or for Mono Green to return. Kellen, that is a legal card. Play the forest, pass the turn. Opponent, land, and Inti. Wow, they're going to discard? Guess they really want that counter. All right. It would be nice if we could, like, Herd Heirloom, double true drop next turn. I think we just need to get down a blocker. We don't really want this Inti to keep popping off, so we got to make it at least tough. Enduring Innocence for our opponent. Are we attack? Wow, opponent gets in. Our opponent's use of Inti is very questionable. There's a lot of just discard a card. Normally with Inti, I feel like you want to discard a card and get a counter on something, but also be able to play the card. Our opponents twice in a row discarded, got the counter, but had no possibility using the card. So they're like down 2 cards. I don't think going down a card for a +1/+1 counter is typically worth it with 0% chance to play the card. But maybe. I mean, right now we have 6 cards in hand. Our opponent has 1. I guess they're leaning on this Enduring Innocence to hopefully get their cards back eventually. That's kind of awkward. Is it even worse? So we can Scrap Shooter, gift a card, blow up the Enduring Innocence, but then they still have the Enduring Innocence for card draw, and we give them a card. I don't even know if it's worth it. We could just Outcast your Trailblazer, but then we're taking a big hit of damage. Yeah, let's just Scrap Shooter, no gift. Just Scrap Shooter as a Loxodon Smiter. Remember when Loxodon Smiter was like legit? Now we have so many 3-mana 4/4s, and they don't really see that much play. Opponent, Bulwark Ox, draws the cards off Enduring Innocence. And passes. Well, there's a Plukranos. So we can Trailblazer into Bloomkin. That's probably our best bet here. Well, Outcast our Trailblazer. Let's do some Flourishing in Standard. Flourishing Bloomkin, draw a card. Have we reached the start attacking point of the game? I feel like the answer is yes. Our opponent's deck, I'm not sure what their deck really is. The Bulwark Ox makes me think some sort of +1/+1 counter deck, but second Enduring Innocence. But Boros is like a weird color combination for +1/+1 counter decks. And passing. It is such a good feeling to like, your opponent has this big aggro board of creatures, and they just can't attack because of your big green creatures. I miss blocking. I miss blocking being a thing. I think that's what we're really doing is we're making blocking work in Standard again, and it feels so good. It feels so good to be able to block. Well, let's play the Forest. Yeah, let's keep Standard flourishing. Casual 2-mana 5/5. Flourishing Bloomkin is actually the reason, too, that we're playing all forests. You could play some utility lands. It also is nice for the budget not to have to play any utility lands. But that is the upside, is like every land is growing the Bloomkin, and that's actually like kind of meaningful. So we probably aren't going to attack with Outcast or Trailblazer. We can get it with the Bloomkin Scrap Shooter. That sounds right. All right, Last Light. How would you like to block? Double block. Oh, so they can sack the Bulwark Ox to make Kellen indestructible? All right, sure. This Kellen is not really impressing me. Well, you killed a Scrap Shooter, or a Bloomkin, rather. They get to keep their Enduring Innocence in enchantment mode. Quintori is gone. Oh, okay. Oh, is this like a... I see. It's like a Boros Pia deck. I guess that, I still don't know if I would play Kellen in it, but that does thematically make sense, right? If you're trying to play from exile, if you fully level up Kellen, you're able to exile cards and play them till end of turn. Well, let's hard-hitting questions. Take down this Brewstarl. Herd Heirloom. I don't think we quite win here, but we get to deal a lot of damage. Get in there. I mean, we can also cycle the Rex to save something. Do we even care? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's cycle the Engorso Rex. Grow the Outcaster. We'll draw hard-hitting questions, too. Draw hard-hitting questions. Trample the Bloomkid. I mean, wow. Our opponent goes to 1? Whew. All right, that was a good turn. Second hard-hitting question. All right, opponent. You need something pretty good. You need something pretty good. Quintori is going to make a Spirit. Another Enduring Innocence. Going to draw a bunch of cards. I mean, drawing lots of cards is good, but I feel like this is just going to be too little too late for our opponent. And Kellen returns. Opponent gains a bit of life up to 3, draws a card. Let's ask some questions and see if we can end this game. Hard-hitting questions. Take down the Kellen. Also worth mentioning, not relevant here, but hard-hitting questions can hit Planeswalkers, which could be relevant in some matchups. So we do have a way to just, an opponent scoops it up. We can snipe a Kaido or whatever. All right, that went pretty well. I honestly don't know if we change anything. I think we just run it back. All right, on to game number 2. We're on the draw playing against, I'm going to say Boros Pia. Let's go with Boros Pia. We haven't seen a Pia, but all the other cards make me think it's got to be, I mean, I guess we say Boros Quintorius, perhaps. Boros plays stuff for, Boros Good and Prosper. Let's go with that. Llanowar into Scrap Shooter and/or Garruk's Uprising. So far, we haven't really had a huge pop off with card draw hand, but I think that we have definitely seen how absurd Herd Heirloom is. We've seen several of our wins are because of this card. The card advantage is nice, but just being able to trample in at instant speed is so game-ending with so many big creatures. We just wait, see how our opponent blocks, and we're like, oh, all right. Well, there's the Bloomkin that you blocked on. Trample over for 6. So good. It's so good. Found an Elegant Parlor. Isn't it Parlor? Parlor. It's spelled like Parlor. Well, let's play Llanowar Elves. Go. And Burst Lightning. Sure. Well, Elf down. Well, I mean, we can do some more flourishing. Standard really is flourishing. Today, at least. Today. With this deck. I'm sure that's what that meant. Let's play the Herd Heirloom. Our opponent's not pressuring us. We'll just set up a little bit for the future. And play the land. You know what? Let's just keep setting up for the future. Garruk's Uprising. Just wait until we eventually start playing creatures. We're going to draw so many cards. Opponent, Enduring Innocence. This is actually kind of interesting. So we can play the Bloomkin. We could get rid of the Enduring Innocence. It's going to... Oh, boy, another Bloomkin. Let's tap this, though. Well, flourishing. We literally are flourishing. Yeah, that's two mana 4/4s that are going to keep growing. And then we can... do we even care about fighting this? Yeah, let's do it. We're going to fight down the Enduring Innocence. So doing it this way means that we can Scrap Shooter it next turn if we want to. If we do it the other way, play Scrap Shooter first, then we can't hard-hitting questions it once it's an enchantment. So this gives us at least Reluctant Role Model. It at least gives us the opportunity to Sheltered by Ghost. Well, okay. We might have a new plan, which... I think we Scrap Shoot the Sheltered by Ghost. Oh, this is actually kind of brutal for our opponent. Yes, we will give you a gift, opponent. Let's blow up the Sheltered by Ghost. Get back the Garruk's Uprising, so everything has trample. Draw a card. Wow, we could also... Yeah, you know what? Let's rub it in a little bit. Scrap Shooter number 2. Get rid of that Enduring Innocence in case you were thinking about drawing cards. And... Tenya? This gets out of control pretty fast once it starts going. Opponent down to 10. Facing down 18 power of Flourishing and Raccoons. Opponent kills a Flourishing Bloomkin. Sure, that's fine. All right, another Sheltered by Ghost. All right, opponent's kind of stabilized a little bit. I mean, they stabilize in the sense we can't kill them. Okay, maybe we can kill them this turn because our opponent scoops it up and, well, mono green. Actually kind of crushed it. I think it's back. Flourishing. So what do we learn this week about mono green in Standard? And record-wise, we actually went 4-1 with the deck. The deck actually felt oddly, surprisingly good. We did play against a lot of aggro decks, which I guess is to be expected in this Standard, which was kind of what we were hoping for. I do think if we played against a bunch of control decks, thankfully we dodged like Jeskai this run, but if we played against a bunch of control decks, it probably would have went worse. But we got to see how good these green creatures actually are. We got to play against the Mice deck even, and we managed to take them down, a bunch of like Boros-style aggro decks, and it turns out just playing really massive creatures is actually kind of hilariously effective against a lot of these aggro decks in the format. They just could not get through our 3 mana 4/4s and so forth. Like a Scrap Shooter just really locks down so many of these decks. So you add in all the card draw that we have with the Herd Heirlooms and the Garruk's Uprising and the Outcaster Trailblazer just to keep us ahead in cards, and the deck actually felt really, really good. So I actually think that maybe, just maybe, mono green might be on the comeback. So we'll have to wait and see. The meta could shift again in the future. If it shifts back towards a bunch of Sunfalls or something, it'll obviously get a lot harder. But I think for right now, in the Corey Steelcutter meta, this might be the perfect time to do some mono grading. We got good answers to Corey Steelcutter. Our big bodies are really good against a lot of the aggro decks. Plus, we get to draw a ton of cards if we run into the grindy matchup. So anyway, that's mono green. That's been our budget magic for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.